Alright guys, welcome to JP Boxing. This is my post-fight report for Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. I'll start off just by saying, oh my fucking god, what absolute craziness. And apologies if my voice sounds a bit fucked, sounds a bit lost, sounds a bit husky. As you guys will know, well my subscribers will know, I was one of the 96,000 in Wembley Stadium for this absolute madness last night. And just like the rest of the 96,000, I was screaming my fucking voice off, going fucking crazy, pretty much for the whole show. But at like 1000%, the volume was absolutely crazy in there. You had to shout at the top of your voice just to talk to the person next to you about the absolute madness we were seeing. So yeah, I'm fully fucking tired today. Voice is almost fully fucking gone. But of course, I had to jump straight on here because I know a lot of people were waiting for my, not just mine, everybody's post-fight reaction to this. I've already watched a load of people's post-fight reaction to this today because shit, man, it was not what a lot of us was expecting. If you watch my, sorry, there's my voice going already. If you watch my prediction video to this, I did actually say, Daniel, obviously I picked Anthony Joshua. I'm not going to say like I was right with his prediction or anything at all. I picked Anthony Joshua in round 7 specifically. I thought it'd be a mid-round stoppage after a fun fight early on. But I did say, and a lot of people did say this to be fair, that Daniel Dubois had one chance of winning this fight, and that was if he just came out, got his jab going straight away in the early rounds, hurt Anthony Joshua early, and then just stayed on him, took Anthony Joshua back to a place mentally and physically that he does not like being, like he was in the first Ruiz fight. And a lot of people, myself included, believe that even though he's tried to get it back since then, he hasn't really ever been the same since then with the way he's entered a fight mentally, the way he's performed in a fight mentally, the way he's dealt with hard moments in fights mentally. And Daniel Dubois had one job, one way of winning, and the guy fair fucking play to him. Let's not make this all about Anthony Joshua and how bad he was and what happens next with him. Daniel Dubois is the winner of this night, man. He performed the absolute best he could. And now for the people that was calling him a paper champion before this, I was, because he was given the title on paper. He hadn't won it in the ring yet. But I said if he won this fight, no matter how he won it, he was a legitimate world champion. He proves he is a world-class heavyweight without doubt. And Daniel Dubois will say that first right here. He is the legitimate IBF heavyweight champion of the world. Still not the #1 heavyweight, of course. That's still a man from Ukraine called Alexander Usyk. Will they get the rematch on some point down the line? A lot of people are calling for that now, but we'll talk about where these guys go next and what happens next for the heavyweight division, because it has been fucking shook up here by this win from Daniel Dubois and his poor performance from Anthony Joshua. But first, let's talk about the fight. Let's talk a bit about the event. I'm going to do an undercard video tomorrow. I was going to do it all in one, a post-show report, but because there's and what the atmosphere was like, what the event was like, because it was the first Riyadh season show. So what I'm going to do, this is just going to be dedicated to just Joshua versus Dubois, because there's so much to talk about with this. This could go on for like 20 minutes itself, and then I'll do our undercard / post-show report and talk a bit about the event and everything, what the atmosphere and the entertainment and stuff was stuff like that was like on my first Riyadh season show. Everybody in the UK's first Riyadh season show. So yeah, stay tuned for that tomorrow. But this just has to be for Joshua versus Dubois, man, because there is so much to talk about. First, let's talk about the fight and how it went. I have gone back and watched the highlights now, obviously on YouTube, because I was right up in the gods watching this in the stadium. I could see the ring, you could see what was going on, but I was watching it on the big screen. So I've still pretty much seen what you guys have seen from watching it on the TV, fucking getting ringside tickets to this, man. You're looking at about 5-6 grand. So fucking yeah, had to be up in the gods for this one, but it was still an incredible night. But I'll save that, as I said, for the video tomorrow. Yeah, but let's talk about it round by round. There's only 5 rounds to talk about. Daniel Dubois, as I said earlier in the video, came out and what he had to do in the first round. Everybody said it. Yeah, he had to win the battle of the jabs. And I knew he'd win the battle of the jabs because Anthony Joshua has never had the best jab, but at least he used to sit down on it and put a bit on it earlier in his career. He's been taking a bit of slack recently since he's got with Ben Davison. A lot of other things looked good. This is obviously against lower level of opposition. But the one thing that I didn't think looked too good, he was fluid with his movement and stuff, but a bit too loose. and too fluid with his jab, and he was flicking his jab out like this, like he was against Ngannou and Wallin and people like that, but he was coming back with a right hand afterwards, so people just kind of ignored it because that right hand was landing. Whereas that jab up against Daniel Dubois is an absolute sniper jab, like a cobra, just snapping out, throwing straight into Anthony Joshua's face. Joshua didn't stand a chance in the battle of the jabs if he was going to come out and try and throw his jab like that. Yes, some people will say, oh, it's range finding, but if you got to find that range and you got to be able to land the right hand. And talking about range finding, this is one of the things that baffled me the most with Anthony Joshua. He was standing from the first round in Daniel Dubois' range. He's got a reach advantage over Dubois. He's got a height advantage over Dubois. He should have been keeping it long. He was standing, because Dubois got that sort of stiff, sort of weird stance like this where he's hunched over right close to you. He was standing in front of Dubois' range, so Dubois could literally just pop it out and didn't even have to step into land. One of the biggest mistakes from Joshua straight away. But yeah, once Dubois didn't even have to find his range. Joshua walked into his range with no defence. Dubois was probably thinking, fuck, this is much easier than I ever fucking expected. I expected to get the win. I expected to come out and stop Joshua, but I didn't think it was going to be this easy. He threw a combination about halfway through the first round, maybe in the first minute of the first round. Can't remember exactly. And from then, I just thought, shit, this don't look right from Joshua. He looks a bit shaky here. This is way too easy for Dubois. And I know Eddie Hearn said after the fight, oh, he got caught with a massive right hand, which dropped him at the end of the first. Had him almost out of it then. He was lucky that was the fight, the bell rang to end the first round there. But he was like just not even hurt from the first combination that Dubois threw, but just like all over the place, like with his defence. He was like hands right up like this, like a novice. Like Dubois was just punching through his guard. He wasn't catching the shots. It was like it was back to like, not even actually Joshua at his debut, because I know he was in the lower level of opposition then, but he looked better than that. It was like watching an amateur that's just learned to box, got a decent defence, and then has been thrown in there with a guy who's coming at him. He just didn't look like he knew what he was doing, and this was before he was even hurt. And then once Dubois came with that overhand right, dropped Joshua from then, and he looked out of it, as I said at the end of that first round. The bell rang to end the round. Stuck his tongue out to Dubois. I'm not slagging off Joshua's heart here or anything. He looked like he was willing to go out on his shield. We saw that by how he still tried to get up in the fifth round when he was absolutely fucking pummeled to the floor. But yeah, let's not skip ahead just yet. Go into round two. He didn't get knocked down in that round, but he still got punched all around the ring. Round three, I think it was when he got dropped again. It might have been when he went down twice and the ref ruled one of them wasn't a knockdown. I can't remember if that was round three or round four. Obviously, I wasn't fucking making notes for this. I was around 95,999 crazy drunk fans while I'm sober there, trying to focus on this, trying to remember what's going on for my video tomorrow. But even I, without drinking, got caught up in the craziness and the atmosphere and stuff like that. So apologies. Can't remember what exact round that was, but it don't really matter. Either way, Joshua got knocked down again, and he was dragging himself back up every time. And I think the first knockdown, other than the last, which obviously finished him and the ref raved it off, was probably the worst. The next two were like kind of cupping shots. His legs did go from a left hook at 1.2. I remember that. And yeah, it was just, there's not really much else to say except that it was just one-way traffic. Eddie Hearn in interviews afterwards was trying to make out like it was some back and forth fight and Joshua was giving as good as he got. I think even Frank Warren said it was their British heavyweight version of Hagler versus Hearns. It wasn't, because Hagler versus Hearns was back and forth. This was not back and forth. It was one-way traffic from Dubois. Up into the fifth round, Joshua threw that long right hand, and all of us in the crowd were like, oh, fuck, he's got him. Has he got him here? But then he got greedy, came in with his chin up again. I just don't get what was going on with Joshua. It was like he either thought this was going to be so easy, maybe because when he sparred Dubois back in the day, he didn't think Dubois was all out. Maybe when Dubois rocked him back in the day, he recovered. He thought, I can take his power and then come on and beat him up. And he was just not, he didn't have that fear factor in here. But even when he was trying to clinch, I've always said Anthony Joshua never has the best clinch anyway. It's one thing he's clearly never been taught or never been able to get. Like you see when Fury clinches someone up, even people like Dillian White and that, they clinch someone up, they don't get hit. Joshua clinches, but the clinch is pointless because he's still getting punched over the top, punched all over the body, and the clinch just doesn't work for him. He comes in all awkward trying to grab it. But yeah, anyway, I digress. His defence was shit here, his clinch was shit. Everything about his performance was shit. And I'm not hating on him, man. I'm a Joshua fan. I wanted him to win, but you have to be honest, man. He looked fucking shit in this fight, and as he came in that 5th round, having Dubois a little bit hurt, Dubois did what you're meant to do when you're hurt. Not panic, not go all over the place, and respect to him mentally, because clearly as a man and as a fighter, he is growing mentally all of the time, coming back from a place where he quit to Joe Joyce, quit to Alexander Usyk. Everybody doubted his mentality. He's had a hard fight against Miller. He's had a hard fight against Hrgovic, and then he just come and pummeled Anthony Joshua. He's had the best, he's probably the fighter of the year worldwide so far, and had the best turnaround of a fucking boxer I can remember for a very long time, maybe ever since I've been watching boxing. And he's still only 27 years old, so he's still got plenty more to do. But this was his night, man. And yeah, you can see this isn't the knockdown, actually this was round 4, but I'm sure you've seen how he dropped Anthony Joshua in that 5th round. As I said, Joshua got a bit greedy, landed a long right, stepped in again. Dubois, as I said, stayed calm, moved to the corner. Might have even been in his mind here to let me lure Anthony Joshua in, or maybe he was hurt and took a genuine step back. But yeah, Joshua then gets greedy. His head's obviously going to be all over the place, and he's thinking, fuck, this is my moment. I can have my comeback victory here. Let me get him out of here, because even though I'm getting up, I'm not liking this feeling in here. Keep getting dropped in front of 96,000 people. It is not going to be a fucking good feeling. You've got to feel for him, man, especially after this. But yeah, at the time he came in, he threw a really telegraphed uppercut where you could see it coming. I could see it coming from all the way at the back of the stadium. So you know Dubois could see it coming, and comes with a chopping right hand over the top. Catches Joshua on the chin, snaps his neck. You know when you get hit like that, when the neck snaps, it's fucking all she wrote. He went down on the canvas. He was laying in like a fucking fetal recovery position. It's going to be turned into a meme. That's just the world we live in nowadays of social media and stuff. You'll have people hating on Anthony Joshua who could never even lace his boots and never do what he's done, but that's boxing, man. He tried desperately to get up, like literally crawling up on the floor like a fucking slug trying to get up, but he just couldn't do it, man. Respect to his heart, but the ref waved it off there. Of course, he was right to wave it off because he didn't make the 10 count. Anthony Joshua was done there. Is he done moving forward with his boxing career? We're going to talk about that in a minute. First, I want to applaud the winner, Daniel Dubois, again, and let's talk about where he goes next first, because he's the winner, man. He is the guy we should all be talking about, but it is the Anthony Joshua show still. We was talking about this. I was talking to my mates and my brother about it as we left the stadium. Even though Joshua's lost here, he's still going to be the bigger name. It's still going to be where Anthony Joshua goes next. If Dubois and Joshua both fight next, unless Dubois is in a super fight, let's say they both fight the same sort of level of opponent, more people are going to watch Anthony Joshua. It's just the way it is. But the winner of the night, the guy who's going to go on to do more things in the heavyweight division now, is the 27-year-old IBF heavyweight champion in the world, Daniel Dubois. I don't think he's still an amazing elite fighter. He's world class. He's a legit world champion now, as I said. But I think this was just as much Anthony Joshua being fucking shit as Daniel Dubois being brilliant. But it was obviously a career best win and career best performance from Daniel Dubois. He is massively improving. I always thought he was a brilliant prospect coming through, but then obviously he clearly lost his way for a few fights. There's still going to be doubts over him mentally, again, because this was another easy night for him. We're still going to wonder about Dubois when he's behind in a fight again, when he's really losing and getting beat up. Has he got what it takes to get through that and bring it back and stuff? But here, let's not talk about all that. Let's just talk about what brilliant fights are next for him. Obviously, you've got Fury versus Usyk in December. The winner of that is a unified heavyweight champion world. I do expect that to be Usyk, but a lot of people are saying get Dubois and win the winner of that. Do another undisputed. It makes sense, and I think if it was Fury, that would be absolutely massive in Britain. If Fury can get the win, Dubois versus Fury at Wembley Stadium for the undisputed. Jesus fucking Christ, sign me up for that right now. Unbelievable. And do you know what? I'd give Dubois a good chance against Tyson Fury now as he's slowing down and stuff. I think I'd still make Fury the favourite, win or lose against Usyk. Even though I know a lot of people might disagree on that now, because boxing fans tend to chop and change just by the form and the momentum a guy's got. Like everybody was saying, Anthony Joshua was now the best heavyweight in the world again after just beating Ngannou, Otto Wallin, and people like that at a lower level. It shows you what looking great against lower level opposition can do for a boxer and their hype. That's why we put these prospects in with average fighters to make them look unbelievable. And then when they do finally step up to world level, it's completely different. Anthony Joshua was world class a couple of years back. Is he world class anymore? He did not look like it in the ring last night, did he? But Dubois is a world class heavyweight. Other than and I'll digress there. If Usyk wins, do I want to see Dubois versus Usyk for undisputed? I know there's a lot of intrigue about it. Everybody on the way home was talking about it last night. And that, for me, obviously it would sell. You could say, oh, look how Dubois rejuvenated since then. Or he had Usyk on the floor with a body slot / low blow, however you want to talk about that. The fact is it was ruled a low blow in that fight. The ref called it a low blow, so he did not legitimately or legally drop Alexander Usyk. And I just think Usyk plays with him again if they fight. The same way I said before this, if Usyk fights Anthony Joshua 10 times, he beats him 10 times. If Usyk fights Dubois 10 times, he beats him 10 times. Them stiff, upright guys that come straight at you, they're easy work for Usyk. The only man I believe in the heavyweight division right now that could be Alexander is Tyson Fury, potentially. Maybe someone like Martin Bakole, we have to see a bit more of him, but I don't think these stiff, come down the line, straight guys are any problem for Usyk at all. So I'm not too bothered about Usyk versus Dubois as a matchup. Like, it doesn't excite me too much, but put the undisputed in it, of course I'm going to want to see it. Other than that, because obviously you've got Usyk could retire if he beats Fury again. Fury might go and fight AJ if he loses. Dubois versus Parker, I like that fight. Dubois versus Martin Bakole, I think, is an absolutely mouth-watering fight. Two of the most informed, like, highly rated heavyweights coming through right now at that top level. A year or so ago, that would have been a small fight. They'd be like excited for the hardcore fans. Now that could be a fucking super fight if Martin Bakole can get a big win over Zhilei Zhang or someone like that soon on one of these Saudi shows. Talking of Zhilei Zhang, Daniel Dubois versus Zhilei Zhang, that's a good fight. There's a lot of good matchups out there for him, man. He's only 27 years old. If he keeps winning, could have a British super fight between the two young guns, him and Moses Atoma in a couple years' time. That would be absolutely mouth-watering. I saw Moses Atoma getting interviewed after this, because I think you could tell he was pissed off and shocked that AJ lost, but he was like, fair play to Daniel, man. But you could see that little sparkle in his eye, that little twinkle in his eye, like the fire in his belly, shall we say, that he's like thinking, I'm going to come through and beat Daniel Dubois soon. This would be my night here at Wembley soon. I think that would be brilliant. Yeah, Daniel Dubois got options. He's got time, man. If I'm him, he's fought quite a few times in the last year. I'd have a couple months out, enjoy yourself. I think boxing is just everything to him, though, so I don't see what else he'd be doing, to be honest. But have a month, just complete rest, let your body, let your mind recover, enjoy being champion, go around with your belt, live the fucking life, become more of a superstar, and then, yeah, get back in the ring and do what you do best, like March time next year, and then we'll see where we go from there for him. But obviously, IBF champion. I don't know who the mandatory is right now. I'll have to go and look at that, and I'll report that in a short video afterwards and see who he's actually could be lined up for his mandatory next. But yeah, the fucking sky is the limit now for him, man. He's got so many fucking options. Anthony Joshua, does he have options? With a guy with his name, the guy that's going to make big money every fight, with Eddie Hearn behind you, still being Eddie Hearn's main guy. He was devastated after it, you could tell. But he said Anthony Joshua will be back. Joshua said straight after the fight, I rate that about him. I'm a fighter. I'm going to continue fighting. It was just a bad day at the office. But the fact is, man, it's not a bad day at the office when you come in the next day and everyone's be like, oh, how you doing? You back? It's a fucking bad day at the office where you kick off, smash the place up and fucking get fucking fired. It was a terrible day at the office from him. And is he going to be welcomed back by the boxing fans? Is there any fights we're going to want to see for him? As far as I see it, he's got two options that will sell big and make sense for him. And that is the Daniel Dubois rematch. I think if he doesn't get that Dubois rematch, he can't fight anybody else other than Tyson Fury without the fans saying, what's the point of this? There's no rebuild for him again now. He can't go and fight like a Manuel Char and a Trevor Bryan and I don't know, fucking Otto Wallin rematch or something like that. You know, you never know in boxing nowadays. And absolutely batter these guys that are outside the top 10. Because we're not going to believe it now. We've had it with Ngannou and Wallin and Helenius and Franklin. We're not going to be... People was lapping it up, being like, oh, AJ's back. He's rebuilt. He's turned his career around. and then this happens when he goes up to elite level. So people ain't going to see him knock the likes of Manu Char out and be like he's back. They're going to be like, we've seen this before, AJ. You've done it. We know when you step up again, you're going to get beat. And yeah, so I don't think you can really, let's say, fool the fans and fool yourself for this one now. He said about afterwards here, he rolled the dice. You got to try and roll the dice big now. Try and get 2 6s. Try and get the rematch with Dubois and try and turn it around. Other than that, there's the Tyson Fury fight, which obviously would sell. It's lost its majesticness. It's lost this, what's it called, like highly ratedness, or whatever you want to call it. Where like it would have been one of the most highly rated fights ever, the most highly rated fight ever for 2 British boxers a few years back had this happen. They missed the golden opportunity, the golden time with it. It would just be the best of the 2 losers now, wouldn't it really? But it would always sell. I'd still go Wembley Stadium to watch it. It would still sell out Wembley Stadium. The build-up, everything would still be absolutely massive just because of the rivalry. But obviously, yeah, his majesticness, the 2 kings, it really ain't that anymore. It weren't just the 2 British heavyweight kings before. It was the 2 world heavyweight kings. But that has completely gone now. And I'm assuming Fury loses to Usyk again here. If Fury beats Usyk, do people want to see Fury versus AJ? No, probably not, because you'd think that gap is just too wide between them to even sell. But it probably still would, man. It's just Joshua versus Fury. You could do this in 15 years' time as an exhibition, and people would still buy it because that rivalry is fucking deep. And I know a lot of fans, myself included, and all my mates and all the boxing fans I know, would still lap it up and want to see it. Other than that, other than the Dubois rematch and Tyson Fury, I don't see any other way back for Anthony Joshua. I would not be like sad or shocked here. I'd be shocked if he retired, because he seems like he really wants to fight on, and maybe it is sad if he went out like this. But if he did retire here, I think it would be a smart move, man. And it's not hating on him. It's just not wanting to see him go out like a fucking Audley Harrison or end up like a Derek Chisora, even though he couldn't be a Derek Chisora because Chisora's tough. He might get beat up, he might get schooled, but he stays in there the majority of the time. Anthony Joshua could not become a gatekeeper like that because of his pride, but also because of his chin and how he gets dropped and how he does get beat. So yeah, I don't want to see him go out like Deontay Wilder has in his last 2 fights and just get battered and battered over and over again. But he's going to want to come back, man. He's a fighter. He is not going to want to go out like that. I think we'll see the Dubois rematch probably like March, April time of next year. Maybe summer of next year if they both have a lot of time out. Well, fuck me, man. The heavyweight division has been shaken up again. That's boxing. That's heavyweight boxing. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking epic. There's going to be more and more storylines. I'm going to drop a heavyweight top 10 next week now. Rank them all again, because since the last one I've done, which was only a couple months ago, it's all been shook the fuck up. And now we've got to put Dubois up. We've got to bring Joshua down. There's a few other fights that have happened that have changed it up. So stay tuned for that. I'll drop that next Friday, even in a short video or a long video. I've got loads more coming. I've got to talk about the undercard fights. I only got 2 fights out of the 6 right with my predictions here. But you could say, oh shit, JP don't know fuck all about boxing. Or you could just say it was a crazy night of boxing, and if we got them all right, it'd be fucking boring. I'm glad. If I go to a show and I get all 6 right, I'd be like, oh shit, yeah, it's good, but I was expecting all this. When you get upsets, when you get shit that you don't expect, that is what boxing is all about, that oh my god moment. The amount of people in the first round when Anthony Joshua got dropped and I turned around and looked, the amount of mouths wide open, the amount of gas, the way the crowd went, oh, and then went silent to see if he was going to get up. You can't write that shit, man. It's better than movies. The craziness of not just boxing, but just sport. But we're talking specifically about boxing here. Them OMG moments that you just can't make up. There was loads of these here in Joshua versus Dubois. There's loads of them in heavyweight boxing all the time. I've talked for long enough now, people. Over to you guys. What's your thought on Dubois' performance? What's your thoughts on Joshua's performance? Was it Dubois being really good? Was it Joshua being shockingly bad? Was it a mixture of both? Where do you want to see Dubois go next? Can he get the rematch with Usyk and beat him? Do you want to see him fight Tyson Fury? What's left for Anthony Joshua? Or do you want to see him retire? Thank you for watching. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe, because there's plenty more boxing talk to come. And I'll tell you in a video tomorrow what it was like to be at the first Riyadh season show in the UK. Thank you.